The cold morning fog hadn't fully lifted and the sound of machinery suddenly grew louder on the frozen Klondike ground. Parker Schnabel's crew had begun work as usual, but today the atmosphere was different. No one knew exactly how this run from the wash plant could change the course of their entire season. Everyone was busy with their tasks, but a strange tension hung in the air. For the past several weeks, the team had been spending approximately $40,000 to $60,000 daily on fuel, repairs, and wages. Running the machines every hour meant burning thousands of dollars. If the pay layer suddenly ran out, the losses would have been direct, and the entire season could have been jeopardized. But as the material flowing from the SLES box began to clear, the workers in the gold room began to breathe easier. Oh, and everyone's eyes were fixed on the scale. The first weigh-in came, then the second, then the third. The numbers were rising rapidly. No one spoke loudly, but everyone's eyes held the same question. Is this really jackpot week? When the final total was revealed, Parker himself stood silent for a few seconds, as if his mind was trying to process the number. $2.3 million in just 1 week. At nearly $2,000 per ounce, this was a haul of thousands of ounces, a run many mining operations couldn't achieve in an entire season. The crew's faces were covered in mud, but disbelief shone in their eyes. Some were laughing, others simply shaking their heads as if still in disbelief. But the real question remained, would this strike make Parker the king of the season, or was the Yukon still about to deliver its next blow? And if you don't subscribe now, the biggest moment in gold rush history will flash before your eyes. In this cold and silent land of the Klondike, Parker Schnabel isn't just searching for gold. He's risking the future of his entire season. On camera, he appears calm and confident. But in reality, every day's decision is a new test for him. This year, he acquired more land, installed bigger machinery, and set a higher production target than ever before. If results aren't forthcoming, not only his hard work, but also his name and reputation could be in question. Even before the season began, millions of dollars had been spent on equipment, fuel contracts, permits, and logistics. Machines roar daily to run the operation, and expenses rise with each passing day. A Parker knows that mining isn't just a game of hard work. It's a battle for cash flow. If gold recovery isn't steady, the pressure will fall first on the man who started it all. From above, the crew looks to him to make decisions, to offer hope, and to point the way. These are the people who stand by him through the cold, mud, and long shifts. For Parker, these aren't just his workers, but his team and his responsibility. If the season fails, not only will the business collapse, but the earnings and trust of many people could also be shattered. That's why every cleanup day isn't just a day for him to look at the numbers, it's a test of leadership. If the big week doesn't come, targets could be missed, cash reserves could be depleted, and future expansion could be stalled. But if the jackpot strikes, this very season could catapult him to new heights. Everything hangs in the balance, and Parker knows that one right run can make history, while one wrong run can change the entire story. Extracting gold in this icy land of the Klondike is as exciting as it sounds, but in reality, it's a costly and risky endeavor. Parker Schnabel's operation begins every morning with the roar of machines. But behind those sounds lies the reality of burning dollars. Each mining day brings a new bill. And if the gold doesn't turn out as expected, losses begin immediately. Thousands of dollars are spent on fuel alone as excavators, dozers, rock trucks, and generators run non-stop. Then there are repairs. Cold mud and rocks wear down machines quickly. If a hydraulic line bursts or an engine fails, work stops and so does money. On top of that, the daily burn rate, including crew wages, food supply, transport, and maintenance, reaches approximately $40,000 to $60,000. This means it's clear if sufficient gold recovery isn't achieved that day, the operation goes straight into a loss. Break-even in mining isn't just a term, it's a daily struggle. Some days are good when gold recoveries exceed expenses. But there are days when even after a full day's work, the gold recovered from the wash plant doesn't even cover half of the expenses. That's why Parker takes every yard paid dirt seriously. It's not just dirt, but the line between profit and loss. For the crew, it's a job, but for Parker, it's a game of survival. If the recovery is steady, the season will be safe. If numbers fall, cash reserves could be depleted quickly. In the Klondike, victory goes to the one who can extract gold faster than they spend it. Because every day here determines whether you're moving forward or slowly sinking. As the excavator's bucket descends, cutting through the hard ground of the Klondike, each scoop raises the same question. Will we find the pay layer? From the surface, soil, rock, and wet gravel appear to be the same. But miners know the real story lies beneath. That thin gold-bearing layer can change the fate of an entire season. If it turns out to be rich, hard work will pay off. If not, everything could be in vain. Hope is palpable on the crew's faces. When a new cut is opened, all eyes are fixed on the excavator's bucket. Wet black soil, heavy gravel, or chunky rocks. Every texture offers a clue. If some workers can judge from experience whether the material is promising or not, but until clean gold comes out of the wash plant, no one is certain. With this hope comes fear. Sometimes the upper layer looks promising, but deeper down only worthless gravel is revealed. Such moments sap crew morale. Hours of hard work, fuel costs, and machine wear. All seem futile. Parker knows that lingering on the wrong ground for too long means losing both money and time. Yet, the true thrill of mining lies in this uncertainty. Every new cut is a gamble. Every bucket a possibility. The crew's heart hopes for a rich pay layer in the next scoop, but their minds fear disappointment. This balance of hope and fear drives Parker's operation. For in the Klondike, only those who have the courage to keep digging despite uncertainty win. As the line of paydirt trucks approaches the wash plant, the entire mining site pulsates like a living machine. Conveyor belts are constantly turning. Trommels are loudly scraping away rocks and soil, and slurry flows downstream with water. From a distance, it all sounds like industrial music. The clash of metal, the roar of engines, and the sound of flowing water combine to create a unique atmosphere. A mixture of thick mud and water rapidly passes over the riffles where the heavier gold is expected to settle. The muddy water splashes, pressure tumbles through pipes, and hundreds of tons of material pass through the plant every second. Crew members are constantly checking gauges, adjusting pressure, and trying to keep the flow steady, as even the slightest disturbance in the flow can cause gold loss. The faster the wash plant's speed, the more suspense grows. From the outside, only mud can be seen flowing. But what is accumulating inside is not immediately clear. With each passing minute, the question deepens. Is gold accumulating in the riffles, or is it all being washed away with the water? This uncertainty forces the crew to pay attention to every vibration and sound in the plant. Parker stands at a distance, watching the entire operation carefully. For him, it's not just the machines running, but the flow of money or the process of being made. If the flow is right and the material is rich, this muddy stream could turn into millions of dollars. But if the gold trap doesn't occur, all this hard work will prove to be nothing more than a waste of time. The wash plant is in full power, and with it, the suspense is reaching its peak. Well, the cold of the Klondike isn't just about the temperature. It's a bone-chilling reality. The morning wind bites, boots sink into mud, and fingers slowly go numb inside gloves. Yet, Parker Schnabel's crew arrives at the site early every day because delays mean lost production. Gold is underground, but extracting it comes at a physical cost. The work isn't easy. Pulling heavy hoses, unscrewing frozen bolts, clearing sludge, and constantly working between machines. All of this happens in long 14-hour shifts. Mud penetrates clothing. The cold air turns sweat to ice, and the body rarely gets a chance to rest. Lunch breaks often have to be ended early because a plant stoppage would hinder recovery. The most difficult moments come during night shifts when temperatures drop further and fatigue takes its toll. Eyes grow heavy. Hands lose their grip and every movement feels sluggish. Yet the crew keeps motivating each other. Someone cracks a joke. Someone hands them coffee. Someone simply puts a hand on their shoulder. Here, teamwork is what keeps them going. At the end of the day, when boots are caked with mud and clothes are soaked, it dawns on them that gold isn't just shiny metal, but the result of hard work, pain, and patience. For Parker, it's production, but for the crew, it's a story of sweat and endurance. Every ounce of gold in the Klondike bears testimony to frozen fingers and weary bodies that refuse to give up. The wash plant has been running continuously for hours, and from the outside it's just muddy water and mud flowing by. But the real story is being written inside the SLES box. A closer look at the layer accumulating between the riffles reveals something different to the crew. Heavy black sand, what miners call black sand, begins to settle in greater quantities, replacing the lighter clay. And this is often a sign of good gold content. One worker leans over and gently peers at the edge of the flow and gestures to another. The material deposited behind the riffles appears heavier than usual. Occasionally, small chunky pieces glint, which quickly disappear into the water. No one says anything out loud, but experienced eyes sense that today's run feels different. Slowly, word spreads among the crew, checking gauges and adjusting hoses. The people look at each other as if everyone is thinking the same thing. The flow is steady, the pressure is right, and the material looks promising. There's excitement, but no one wants to be complacent because in mining, hopes are often dashed at the last moment. Yet, the atmosphere has changed. A new energy emerges amidst the fatigue. Everyone begins to pay closer attention to the sounds of the plant, as if the machines themselves are revealing some secret. Parker stands at a distance, observing without saying a word. He knows that if heavy material is accumulating in the SLES, the chances of finding something special in the gold room have increased. The suspense deepens because there are signs that luck has also flowed along with the mud today. As soon as the wash plant shuts down, the noise on the site suddenly subsides. And everyone's attention automatically turns to the gold room. This is where the truth of a week's hard work is revealed. Normally, there's light laughter and jokes, but today the atmosphere is different. No one is talking loudly. Everyone senses that something serious might be hidden in this cleanup. The crew carefully removes the SLES mats and begins rinsing them in the wash tub. The black sand and heavier material slowly separate. When the first glint appears among the mud flowing with the stream of water, those standing in the room involuntarily move closer. No one speaks, but everyone's eyes are fixed on the tray where the concentrate is accumulating. When the material from the riffles is spread out on the table, a yellow glow becomes clearly visible among the heavy black layer. Gold flakes, tiny nuggets, and dense particles catch the light, and the atmosphere in the room becomes even heavier. A worker exhales slowly as if realizing that today's cleanup is anything but ordinary. Yet no one celebrates because the real answer lies on the scale. Parker stands silently watching, his face unwavering, his eyes glued to every detail. This is a moment that will determine not just the gold, but the entire operation. As the concentrate grows, the tension in the room grows. Everyone knows that the next few minutes will determine whether this week has been just fine or will go down in mining history. After carefully drying and cleaning the concentrate stored in the gold room, the moment everyone has been waiting for arrives. The first weigh-in, the scale is steady, the tray is gently placed, and everyone in the room falls unceremoniously silent. The hum of the machines now seems distant, and everyone's eyes are fixed on this tiny digital number. This is the moment where hard work translates into numbers for the first time. As the numbers settle on the screen, a slight change appears on the crew's faces. These numbers are better than usual. No one reacts loudly, but their eyes light up. Some raise their eyebrows, others nod slightly, as if saying, something good is happening today. Yet, a quiet reigns in the room as the initial joy in mining often fades quickly. The first weigh-in is just the beginning. The remaining mats still need to be filled. The rest of the concentrate process needs to be completed, and the final total is yet to be reached. The crew knows that sometimes strong starts can be strong, but the end can be less than expected. So, no one celebrates too quickly. Yet, everyone remains calm, focused, and awaits the next batch. Snorts. Parker watches the numbers carefully and nods slightly without saying anything. For him, this is a positive sign, but the decision is still far away. The tension hasn't eased. In fact, the suspense deepens as hope grows. The first weigh-in has ignited a spark of hope. And now everyone wants to see if that spark turns into a fire. After the first weigh-in, the buzz in the gold room increases, but the sounds are still quiet. The next batch of concentrates is brought to the scale. The tray is carefully placed and the blinking numbers on the screen slowly stabilize. As the second weigh-in appears, people in the room look at each other. This number is even better than the first. No one shouts in excitement, but the tension in the air is now turning to hope. The third batch is being prepared. If the camera were to capture this moment, it would see not just the gold, but the stories written on faces. Muddy clothes, tired eyes, and suppressed excitement. Some remove their gloves and rub their hands. Others exhale slowly. The worker standing near the scale straightens the tray as if even the slightest mistake could break the solemnity of the moment. As the third weigh-in is recorded, the numbers rise rapidly. It's now clear that today's cleanup is no ordinary one. Yet, the room remains silent. Mining has taught them that celebrating before the final numbers are in can be premature. The silence is so deep that even the gentle beeping of the scale and the sound of people's breathing can be heard. A Parker stands quietly, tallying the totals, his eyes calculating. The crew's faces suggest they can see history being made, but it's too early to put it into words. Each new weigh-in deepens the suspense. The numbers are rising, clears throat, hearts are pounding, and the silence in the room now awaits the moment that will define this entire week's hard work. Inside the gold room, the numbers are rising, but Parker Schnabel's face shows no significant reaction. While surprise and anticipation are clearly visible on the crew's faces, Parker stands quietly staring at the scale. It's his habit. He doesn't let his emotions show, even in big moments. On the outside, he appears calm, as if it's all part of routine. But inside, his mind is working rapidly. With each new weigh-in, he doesn't just look at the numbers, but understands their meaning. To converting ounces to dollars, comparing them to the daily burn rate, aligning them with the season target. All of this runs through his mind in seconds. If this trend continues, the production gap could be filled. If similar runs continue, the season could enter the profit zone. For Parker, this isn't just today's victory, but data that will determine strategy for the coming weeks. The crew looks at him, perhaps expecting a reaction, but Parker simply nods his head and gives a brief good signal. He knows that showing excitement too early in mining could send the wrong message. There's still work to be done. The final total is yet to be determined, and there could still be more gold hidden in the ground. His calm reaction keeps the crew grounded. Deep inside, Parker feels both pressure and relief. After so many days of hard work, risk, he asked, an expense. This moment could give him breathing space. But he reminds himself the Yukon could change the game at any time. So instead of smiling, he keeps adding up the totals, planning the next cut, and considering the possibilities for the next run. He's calm on the outside, but inside a whole world of calculations, risk, and opportunity swirls. The last tray in the gold room has been weighed, and now everyone's eyes are fixed on the small display that adds up the final total. The people in the room involuntarily move closer, as if reducing the distance will lessen the suspense. No one is speaking. Only the numbers written on paper. The soft click of the calculator and people's slow breathing are heard. This is the moment where the entire week is about to be reduced to a single number. Before adding up the total, Parker consults his notes once again, as if to ensure no mistakes. Some crew members stand with their hands folded. Others lean forward, watching. Time seems to slow down. The wind is blowing outside, but inside the room, everything is still. Everyone knows that the next few seconds will decide the story of this week. Then Parker enters the final number, and for a few moments, the screen remains still. That short pause deepens the suspense. Some hold their breath, others unconsciously scratch the floor with their shoes. Then the digits appear clearly. The final total is in sight. For a few seconds, no one reacts, as if their minds are trying to process the number. Then slowly, faces begin to change. Disbelief, relief, and tired smiles. This wasn't just a good cleanup. It's a moment that could change the course of the entire season. The flashing numbers on that small display indicate that all the hard work wasn't in vain, and, clears throat, perhaps luck has also been on their side. After the final total is revealed, the biggest question arises. What does it really mean? The number displayed on the screen isn't just a figure, but a financial picture of the entire operation. When this week's recovery is converted to a dollar value, the figure reaches nearly $2.3 million. At the current gold price of around $2,000 per ounce, this represents the recovery of thousands of ounces, a haul that many smaller operations can achieve in an entire season. If we estimate the ounces, it could be between 1,100 and 1,200 ounces, which is considered extraordinary production in a single week. This means the ground is truly yielding rich pay. This isn't just a lucky cleanup, but a sign that the underlying layer may be consistent. Such numbers give Parker confidence that the cut is in the right place and the excavation strategy is working. Now, let's talk about operating costs. Parker's daily burn rate ranges from approximately $40,000 to $60,000, including fuel, equipment maintenance, crew wages, parts replacement, and logistics. Expenses for the entire week can reach approximately $300,000 to $420,000. If this expense is subtracted from total recovery, this week puts the operation into a strong profit zone. This is the breathing space needed every mining season. When this week could prove to be a game share in terms of season impact. This can cover a large portion of the production target, strengthen cash reserves, and provide confidence for future expansion or deeper cuts. Most importantly, weeks like these boost crew morale and validate leadership decisions. It's not just gold, it's stability, momentum, and the force that propels the entire season toward success. Upon hearing the final total, silence descends upon the gold room for a few seconds, as if no one believes the number just revealed is true. Then slowly, faces begin to change. Some people's eyes widen, others try to stifle laughter, and others simply stand there shaking their heads. After so many days of cold, mud, and fatigue, this moment takes time to sink into the mind. First, a faint laugh is heard. Then, a voice calls out, "And is that really that much?" And suddenly, the atmosphere of the room changes. People look at each other, patting shoulders, and tired smiles appear. Some workers remove their gloves and shake hands as if this victory is not just about gold, but also about togetherness. Despite their mud-covered clothes, a glow is clearly visible on their faces. Some people stand silently. A slight moisture appears in their eyes. It's not just joy, but also relief. Long shifts, broken machines, frozen fingers, and the pressure of uncertainty. Everything comes to mind in an instant. This moment reminds them that their hard work wasn't in vain. Every shovel, every hose, and every cold night had a meaning. Parker looks at his team and smiles softly. This celebration isn't noisy, but rather filled with deep satisfaction. Well, the crew knows that tomorrow will bring the same cold mud in hard work. But today, they have found a reason to keep going. This gold isn't just metal, but the reward for their patience, trust, and teamwork. The air is still chilly as they leave the room, but people's steps have become lighter. Some joke, some say, "I'll sleep well tonight." And some simply smile at the sky. This victory isn't small. It reminds them that even the harsh land of the Klondike can finally yield to hard work. The news of this massive week of $2.3 million can't stay hidden for long in the valleys of the Klondike. News spreads quickly through mining camps via radio, fuel stops, and supply routes. Within hours, word reaches other operations that Parker Schnabel's site is producing extraordinary gold. While some are impressed and discuss the numbers, anxiety grows in many camps. The initial reaction among rival miners is disbelief. How did so much gold come out in a week? Some call it a lucky run, while others question the ground quality. But as confirmation from trusted sources begins to arrive, the mood shifts. Now it's seen as not just a good recovery, but a sign of dominance. If Parker's cut consistently pays, its production lead in the market could strengthen. Snorts, with this, jealousy and pressure also increase. Many miners begin to wonder if they are working the wrong ground. Some operations consider changing their digging strategy, while others quickly begin new test cuts. In an industry like the gold rush, a major discovery sends others into panic mode as everyone fears being left behind. Rumors also begin to circulate. Some say Parker has hit a deeper ancient channel. Others claim the ground is unusually rich. In an environment of extreme competition, fears of sabotage also arise. Things like equipment tampering, claim disputes, or information leaks become the subject of discussion. Even if these are just rumors, they show the high stakes in high-stakes mining. Amidst all this, Parker's reputation grows stronger. The industry sees him as a leader who takes risks and delivers results. His planning, efficiency, and aggressive digging strategy are now the talk of the town. This week is not just a financial victory, but a dominant statement. A sign that Parker Schnabel is still ahead of the game on the harsh soil of the Yukon. The $2.3 million week is over, but a big question still lingers in the cold Klondike air. Was this just a lucky strike or the beginning of a major pay streak? The ground has revealed its secrets for the first time, but no one knows if the treasure hidden beneath will continue to be found or will suddenly vanish. In the world of mining, today's victory doesn't guarantee tomorrow. The crew's faces are filled with joy, but they know the real test is yet to come. If the pay layer remains consistent, the coming weeks could bring record production. But if the gold pocket suddenly thins, production will plummet. Parker has seen before that the Yukon offers hope and then takes it all away without warning. Parker is focused on planning the next cuts. Where to dig, how deep to go, and what the ground data indicates. Every decision will determine the future of the coming weeks. Fuel will continue to burn, machines will wear out, and expenses will be unstoppable. If gold remains steady, this season could become legendary. But if the ground shifts, today's victory could be just a memory. The Yukon soil is unpredictable. Many miners here have seen collapse after a jackpot. Sudden flooding, unstable ground, or gold loss, a small change can derail an entire operation. So even after the celebration, Parker and his team remain vigilant. They know the real battle is still underway. The biggest question now lies before you. Is this strike going to make history, or is it the calm before the storm? Will Parker deliver consecutive million-dollar weeks, or will Yukon deliver the next blow? Those who don't subscribe now will miss the biggest season in gold rush history unfolding before their